What if I told you that here in 2025, the Indonesian government is quietly preparing to reveal what could be the world's oldest pyramid? A vast monument buried for nearly 28,000 years, one that may prove our ancestors possessed advanced knowledge. During the Ice Age, knowledge long suppressed by elites and doubted by orthodox scholars. Imagine colossal stones resonating with hidden frequencies, echoing chambers pulsing with energies that could unlock free power or even interstellar secrets. Legends of a catastrophic flood tie this site to lost continents like Atlantis and Mu. Could this be the ultimate proof of an ancient apocalypse that destroyed a superior civilization, leaving only scattered survivors to rebuild humanity? And why? After shocking discoveries shook the field, was groundbreaking research abruptly silenced, excavations halted, and whispers of a cover-up spreading through academic halls? The mystery points to Gunung Padang, an unassuming hill in West Java, that has become the center of one of archaeology's most intense battles. This is no ordinary ruin. It could be a pyramid older than Egypt's Giza by over 20,000 years, challenging everything we believe about evolution and human progress. If the deepest layers truly reach back 28,000 years, as early radiocarbon results suggested, then who were its builders? Primitive hunters? Or a people skilled in metallurgy, astronomy, and sound engineering rivaling our modern era? Picture this. Beneath soil and jungle, scans reveal tiered terraces, underground voids that may be chambers or conduits, and basalt columns aligned with precision no natural force could create. More astonishing, these stones hum at frequencies tied to ancient musical scales, as if drawing on Earth's magnetic field for purposes we can barely imagine, levitating megaliths, healing rituals, or even communicating with the stars. The story reached a peak in 2023 when Dr. Danny Hilman Natawijaja of Indonesia's National Research and Innovation Agency published a groundbreaking paper in archaeological prospection. Using ground-penetrating radar, seismic tomography, and core drilling, his team identified three major construction phases: an upper layer dating 2,500 to 3,500 years ago, a middle stratum around 7,500 to 8,300 years old, and the deepest, most astonishing level dating between 25,000 and 28,000 years. This placed Gunung Padang firmly in the Upper Paleolithic, a time when, according to textbooks, humans were painting caves and crafting stone tools, not raising pyramids across 150,000 square meters. His paper argued the structures were intentional, architecture with voids possibly hiding artifacts of an organized society. But backlash erupted almost instantly, like the volcanic forces that formed its basalt stones. International archaeologists dismissed the claims as weak, accusing the team of misreading soil data and ignoring erosion. By March 2024, the journal retracted the study, stating the radiocarbon samples only dated organic material, not human activity. They argued the site's deep layers were geological, not man-made. Dr. Natawijaja and his colleagues protested, insisting the retraction was premature and dismissive of the geophysical evidence showing unnatural symmetries and cavities. To them, this was academic censorship, a defense of entrenched beliefs unwilling to acknowledge forgotten civilizations. The controversy only fueled conspiracy theories. Why retract peer-reviewed work without a proper rebuttal? Some whisper that global institutions, backed by elite foundations, are concealing truths that could rewrite history. If Gunung Padang is indeed Ice Age architecture, it destroys the narrative of slow, linear progress, suggesting instead a cycle of civilizations, rising and falling through cataclysm. The site has attracted voices like journalist Graham Hancock, whose 2022 Netflix series Ancient Apocalypse highlighted Gunung Padang alongside anomalies worldwide, the submerged Yonaguni ruins in Japan with their angular steps, Göbekli Tepe in Turkey with 11,000-year-old pillars covered in advanced symbolism, and even the eroded Sphinx possibly predating Egypt's pharaohs. Hancock argues a mother civilization thrived 12,000 years ago, destroyed by comet impacts or floods as sea levels rose, drowning lands like Sundaland, the now submerged landmass linking Indonesia to mainland Asia. Survivors, he suggests, spread. Myths of Atlantis and Mu, remembered in Plato's writings and explorers' tales. Supporting these ideas are Gunung Padang's strange acoustic effects. Tests show its stones resonate with harmonics eerily close to Pythagorean scales and modern tunings. Could this be evidence of sound technology like Nikola Tesla once explored, or ancient legends of levitating stones with music? Some theorize the pyramid was a vast oscillator drawing geomagnetic energy, expanding consciousness, or even channeling extraterrestrial knowledge. Local Sundanese legends tell of a mountain of enlightenment built by divine rulers, a sanctuary. From a great flood resembling Noah's Ark, the Epic of Gilgamesh, and flood myths from every culture. Perhaps these stories echo the Younger Dryas impact around 12,000 years ago, when rising seas erased coastal civilizations. Fast forward to 2025, and the mystery only deepens. In February, Indonesia's culture minister urged renewed investigations, calling for answers. By July, the government announced plans to restore the site, beginning with new studies before physical work. The decision followed viral social media posts, including debunked AI-generated images depicting Gunung Padang as a perfect jungle pyramid. Still, skeptics remain, calling it a volcanic plug with later stone arrangements dating just 2,000–5,000 years. Yet excavations have uncovered intriguing artifacts. Coins predating known currency, cement mixed with iron and silica, hinting at forgotten metallurgy, and tools suggesting ancient maritime trade. These fragments point to a society aligning monuments with the stars, perhaps for navigation or ritual practices stretching back before written history may lie encoded in these stones. And now, as Indonesia prepares for renewed excavations, we stand on the threshold of revelation. Will fresh digs vindicate Dr. Natawijaja by uncovering sealed chambers with star maps or forgotten technologies, or will they confirm skeptics, reducing Gunung Padang to a natural curiosity? More intriguingly, what if the site's mysterious frequencies are awakening in sync with global shifts? From climate anomalies to unexplained phenomena, as if timed for rediscovery in our age. Could unseen forces be orchestrating delays, fearing humanity's readiness to confront truths about extraterrestrial contact, ancient wars resembling nuclear events, or great resets echoing forgotten cataclysms? These questions remain unanswered, drawing us into the veil between myth and reality, where the impossible begins to whisper. And now, let me welcome you properly. I'm Mr. H, your host on Mystery History for Sleep, where we unravel the enigmas of lost worlds to calm your mind and inspire your dreams. If hidden pyramids and vanished civilizations fascinate you as deeply as they fascinate me, consider subscribing and enabling notifications so you never miss a murmur from the shadows. Stay tuned as we continue deeper into the mysteries of Gunung Padang, its revelations, its controversies, and the dreams they awaken. Nestled in the lush highlands of West Java, where mists cling to ancient trees and the air vibrates with unseen secrets, lies a hill that has captured imaginations for centuries. Gunung Padang, literally the mountain of enlightenment, is more than a landmark. It is a living tapestry of Sundanese myth and memory, where oral traditions speak of divine rulers, miraculous feats, and a bridge to the spirit world. To the people of Karyamukti village, the site has long been revered as sacred ground, a meeting point between earthly and ethereal realms. Legends tell how the semi-mythical King Siliwangi of the 15th century Pajajaran kingdom attempted to build a palace here in a single night, aided by supernatural forces. But as dawn arrived, the work was left unfinished, frozen as stepped terraces upon the hillside. Some versions say jealous spirits or divine will stopped him, Others suggest the monument was designed as an instrument of enlightenment, aligned with the stars to channel wisdom for those ascending its steps. These are not idle tales. They pulse with echoes of forgotten rites and ancient devotion. Local tradition regards Gunung Padang as a punden berundak, a sacred stepped terrace where offerings are laid to honor the spirits of the land. Villagers claim the stones themselves vibrate with subtle energies capable of healing the sick or granting visions to the pure-hearted. Elders recount how the mountains served as refuge during ancient floods, a sanctuary where survivors gathered, paralleling flood myths worldwide yet rooted in the drowned geography of Sundaland, the vanished landmass that once linked Indonesia to Asia. The very name Padang, meaning field or plain, resonates here with the idea of enlightenment, of a field of knowledge where shamans once performed moonlit ceremonies to commune with ancestors. But woven into these enchanting traditions is a shadow of intrigue. Why have the stories endured so vividly, as though protecting a truth too dangerous for casual revelation? Into this landscape of legend came European explorers, colliding colonial ambition with local mystery. In 1914, during Dutch rule in the East Indies, historian and archaeologist Nicholas Johannes Crom journeyed into the dense jungles near Cianjur. A careful scholar working for the Dutch Archaeological Service, Crom was intrigued by rumors from plantation workers and guides who spoke of unusual stone terraces hidden on a remote hill. The Dutch East Indies already fascinated European antiquarians, who often romanticized ruins as remnants of faded grandeur. Yet Gunung Padang offered something different. Cutting through vines and heat, Crom found massive basalt columns and stepped platforms, overgrown, yet clearly shaped and arranged by human intent. These were no random rocks. They formed deliberate ascents and walls, suggesting enclosures for rituals or gatherings. In his official report for Oudheidkundig Verslag, Crom described the site as a megalithic complex, perhaps a prehistoric sanctuary, and recommended further study. He mentioned the local reverence and its link to tales of King Siliwangi, though he treated these myths as embellishments around what he assumed was a relatively recent monument. What Crom failed to recognize, or perhaps chose not to acknowledge, was the site's potential to challenge Eurocentric narratives of history. In an era when colonial rulers portrayed Asian societies as primitive to justify domination, admitting to an advanced megalithic structure predating Europe's great monuments would have been politically inconvenient. Some speculate Dutch authorities deliberately minimized the site's importance, shelving Crom's findings in bureaucratic archives to avoid fueling nationalist pride. For if Gunung Padang were proven an ancient engineering marvel, it could suggest Southeast Asia once nurtured civilizations rivaling or surpassing the West. Dangerous fuel for independence movements already stirring. Crom's request for professional excavation was ignored. The site slipped back into obscurity, its terraces swallowed by jungle as if the earth conspired to keep them hidden. For decades it slumbered, known only to locals who continued their pilgrimages, leaving flowers and incense at the stones, keeping alive rituals that blended Hindu-Buddhist influences with deep-rooted animist belief. The king's unfinished palace became a symbol of a legacy cut short, a place where time seemed to fold in on itself, holding mysteries for future generations to rediscover. The veil lifted again in 1979, not through academic research but by chance in everyday life. 3 local farmers, Endi, S., and Aberdeen, while tending fields on the slopes, stumbled upon exposed stone walls and unusual alignments hidden beneath soil and vegetation. What began as a routine day in the rice paddies transformed into a moment of awe. These weren't natural rock formations, but the remains of something monumental. Captivated by the symmetry, they reported it to local officials, sparking a chain of events that pushed Gunung Padang back into public view. Indonesia, having secured independence in 1949, was then immersed in the nation-building era, eager to reclaim cultural heritage from colonial shadows. The Bureau of Archaeology sent teams to investigate, confirming Crom's earlier notes yet broadening them with fresh discoveries. Excavations revealed more than 400 andesite columns, some weighing hundreds of kilograms, arranged into 5 terraces spanning thousands of square meters. The farmers' find seemed to echo the very legends they had grown up with, as if King Siliwangi's spirit had guided their hands to reveal his hidden legacy. As mapping progressed, subtle clues emerged, alignments possibly tied to solstices, traces of buried offerings reminiscent of still-practiced spiritual traditions. Local shamans interpreted this rediscovery as a message from ancestors, urging the community to guard the mountain from misuse. But even amid the excitement, doubt lingered. Why had such a significant site remained concealed for so long? Some suggest colonial-era maps intentionally omitted detailed surveys, part of a larger agenda to downplay indigenous achievements while exploiting resources unchallenged. The 1979 studies, though groundbreaking, dated the site conservatively to around 1500 to 2500 BCE, comfortably fitting accepted academic timelines but falling far short of the age implied by myths. This cautious estimate let the site slip back into obscurity, its deeper layers unexplored, awaiting future inquiries to probe further. What if those early findings were only the prologue? Could the myths of overnight construction and divine help preserve distorted memories of lost techniques, stone shaped by sound, or colossal efforts disguised as miracles? As history and folklore intertwine, Gunung Padang emerges less as a simple ruin and more as a puzzle box, each terrace a clue pointing to forgotten human brilliance. The farmer's discovery in 1979 became a bridge between myth and archaeology, setting the stage for debates that would one day challenge our entire understanding of prehistory. And as we pause here, I wonder, where are you listening from tonight? Perhaps a quiet flat in London, a bustling cafe in Jakarta, or a cozy bedroom in New York? What time is it where you are as you drift deeper into these mysteries with me? Share in the comments below, and let's see how far this story reaches across the world. For now, let us climb further up Gunung Padang's slopes, not through legend or speculation, but through its tangible form, stone by stone. What unsettles scholars most is not simply its myths, but its defiant architecture, a sprawling complex of terraces, chambers, and alignments engineered with precision no natural process could replicate. Covering an estimated 150,000 square meters, larger than many modern stadiums, Gunung Padang stretches across 5 distinct terraces rising toward the peak. These are not soft inclines, but deliberate steps cut from volcanic andesite and basalt born of ancient eruptions. The lowest terrace spans a vast platform filled with hundreds of upright stone columns, some person tall and weighing up to 300 kilograms, arranged in patterns suggestive of ritual enclosures or celestial markers. As you ascend, the terraces, narrow, shaping a stepped pyramid silhouette reminiscent of Mexico's Teotihuacan or Peru's Corral, yet potentially older by tens of millennia if bold claims are correct. Linking these levels is a central staircase of 370 stone steps, a monumental path leading upward into mystery, carved straight into the bedrock and flanked by retaining walls that have endured centuries of tropical storms and seismic jolts. This is no simple stairway. It is a ceremonial route, broad enough for groups to ascend together, perhaps for rituals beneath the night sky. Even today, local guides describe the climb as a meditative journey, where each step falls into rhythm with the mountain's subtle vibrations felt through the feet that hint at deeper resonances we'll soon explore. But what lies on the surface is only the beginning. Geophysical surveys using ground-penetrating radar and electrical resistivity tomography have stripped away layers of Earth to reveal a hidden world beneath, transforming Gunung Padang from a hill into a labyrinth. The first stratum, known as Unit 1 includes the visible terraces constructed from loosely stacked stone columns. Based on erosion studies and artifacts, this layer is tentatively dated to around 500 to 1500 BCE. But digging deeper exposed Unit 2, lying 3 to 5 meters below, a denser layer of stone and soil, carefully packed and aligned, with radiocarbon results pointing to 7,500 to 8,300 years ago. Then came the real revelation. Unit 3. Buried some 15 meters deep, it consists of fractured basalt and ancient sediments, yielding astonishing dates of 25,000 to 28,000 years before present. This was not random debris. Scans reveal rectangular voids, possible chambers or passageways, cut laterally into the hillside, their shape suggesting deliberate human modification. Seismic tests indicate these spaces may stretch for dozens of meters, perhaps hiding relics, or serving as sound chambers, amplifying the site's unusual acoustic traits. And deeper still, more than 20 meters below, signs of a fourth unit appear. Fractured bedrock with odd cavities, interpreted by some as the foundational core, natural in origin but adapted by early builders for strength. All of this construction sits atop an extinct volcanic plug, a natural pedestal chosen not only for its resilience, but for its commanding view across the plains. The multi-layered design suggests a palimpsest of cultures, each generation adding to an original master plan while respecting the ancient foundation. What fascinates researchers is how these findings disrupt accepted timelines of human innovation. Consider the stones themselves. Hexagonal basalt columns similar to Ireland's Giant's Causeway, yet here relocated and deliberately arranged by human effort. Moving such massive blocks up a 90-meter slope without carts or animals required. Advanced logistics. Ramps, pulleys, or perhaps something even stranger, like the sound-based levitation described in myths around the world. Even more compelling are traces of artificial binding material within the deeper layers. Analyses show a cement-like mixture of clay, silica, and iron oxides, an engineered binder far stronger than simple mortar. This geochemical formula suggests experimentation with adhesives long before metallurgy was thought to exist. If Unit 3's astonishing dates hold true, it implies a society during the last glacial maximum, when much of the Earth was locked in ice, had the means to quarry, shape, and assemble vast megaliths. Were these builders astronomers aligning terraces to the solstices as later measurements suggest? Or were they fortifying a high refuge against rising seas as Sunderland gradually drowned? These startling timelines don't come from one method alone, but from a convergence of science, each test adding another layer of intrigue. Radiocarbon dating of organic remains in the soil. Radiocarbon dating forms the backbone of the case. Samples retrieved from Unit 3, charred plant fragments and pollen, consistently cluster around 28,000 years in age, supported further by optically stimulated luminescence tests on quartz grains that record the last time they were exposed to sunlight. These aren't outliers. More than a dozen cores extracted across the hill yield parallel results, suggesting a phased construction history spanning the Paleolithic into the Neolithic. Yet the data ignites controversy. Detractors argue the organic traces could be intrusive, perhaps washed down by later floods or carried by burrowing animals, separating them from human involvement. Advocates reply with the geophysical findings. Symmetrical anomalies revealed in radar scans, particularly those rectangular voids, resist explanation as natural geology. One chamber at a depth of 12 meters measures roughly 10 by 15 meters. Its shape far too precise for volcanic fissures. What secrets might lie within? Sealed relics from a forgotten era, skeletal remains of Ice Age builders, or, as more radical theories claim, vaults of encoded wisdom. Stones or alloys marked with astronomical data echoing the Antikythera mechanism, but unimaginably older. This mix of hard evidence and speculative wonder invites comparison to other enigmatic sites worldwide. Think of Turkey's Göbekli Tepe with its 11,000-year-old T-shaped pillars, also layered and aligned, unsettling the hunter-gatherer paradigm. Or Japan's Yonaguni underwater terraces, thought by some to date back 20,000 years, possibly linked through ancient land bridges. Gunung Padang appears to slot into this mosaic, hinting at a wider network of Ice Age megalithic innovators exchanging ideas across now-drowned continents. But why the resistance to acceptance? The threads of conspiracy creep in. Critics who dismiss the hill as nothing more than a pseudo-pyramid are seen by some as protecting academic orthodoxy, guarding grants tied to established narratives. Others whisper of darker motives. If Gunung Padang truly demonstrates advanced Paleolithic engineering, it lends weight to theories of extraterrestrial guidance in which celestial visitors shared knowledge of resonance and material science. The site's peculiar acoustics fuel such claims. The stones hum at 440 Hz, the same as modern concert pitch, as if deliberately tuned for harmonic resonance. Tests show these vibrations intensify inside the chambers, creating standing waves capable of altering states of consciousness, or even reinforcing structures. Could this represent alien technology hidden in plain sight, suppressed by governments, wary of social upheaval or the collapse of energy monopolies threatened by free sonic power? The dates also align with Heinrich Event 2, about 28,000 years ago, a period of dramatic ice sheet collapse and rising seas that likely forced coastal peoples inland to elevated refuges like Gunung Padang. Pollen studies from the cores reveal ecological transitions, from glacial flora to tropical species, tracking warming pulses that echo global flood myths. Picture displaced communities fleeing encroaching waters, building this monument as a beacon of survival, layer by layer as memories faded. The debate only intensified with modern research. A 2023 paper in Archaeological Prospection detailing these findings was retracted in 2024 amid disputes over methodology, but not before sparking worldwide debate. By early 2025, Indonesia's Culture Minister Fadlon renewed calls for further investigations and announced staged restoration efforts beginning that year. By July, officials confirmed plans to uncover more chambers and refine dating with advanced methods, such as cosmogenic nuclide analysis. This reignited speculation. Will excavations expose metallic artifacts proving prehistoric smelting or inscriptions, connecting to a forgotten script, as some writers have suggested? Conspiratorial voices sharpen the intrigue, claiming elite think tanks already know the site's energy potential and deliberately stall full excavation to harness it privately, echoing the stories of Tesla's suppressed inventions. The hidden vaults might shelter bioluminescent fungi, quartz resonators, or other natural technologies for illumination and communication. Even pollen hints at exotic plants alien to Java, raising the possibility that ancient voyagers carried them across Sunda's vast plains. Gunung Padang, with its geometric symmetries and staggering timelines, stands as a gauntlet hurled at accepted history. Each terrace, each void, whispers of possibilities. An observatory tracking comets that doomed an Ice Age world, or a resonant structure designed to tune human minds to cosmic frequencies. Its survival through countless earthquakes, while lesser buildings crumbled, implies sophisticated seismic engineering, perhaps flexible joints or geometry rooted in sacred principles. As the 2025 restorations progress, humanity edges nearer to answers, though the mysteries only multiply. The story now turns toward the modern visionaries who pushed this site into the global spotlight, their struggles adding another layer to Gunung Padang's enduring saga. When Dr. Danny Hillman Natawijaja first turned his gaze toward the hill in the early 2000s, he wasn't chasing lost civilizations. He was a geologist, focused on earthquakes and tectonic dynamics for Indonesia's National Research and Innovation Agency. His specialty lay in mapping the restless crust, not unearthing humanity's forgotten chapters. Yet something about this modest rise in West Java gnawed at him, a sense that its contours hid more than volcanic chance. Could the whispers of local legend hold a fragment of truth? What hidden anomalies might overturn tidy timelines? That quiet pivot, from fault lines to lost epochs, marked the beginning of a research journey that would propel Gunung Padang into headlines, merging cutting-edge science with daring questions about our earliest dawn. Backed by Indonesian government funding under President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, who envisioned national pride in uncovering ancient heritage, Hillman gathered a multidisciplinary team of geophysicists, archaeologists, and soil specialists from institutions like the Indonesian Institute of Sciences and the University of Indonesia. Their instruments contrasted sharply with the crude picks and shovels of past explorers. Instead, they employed cutting-edge tools designed to peer into the Earth undisturbed. Ground-penetrating radar, GPR, became their primary probe, sending electromagnetic pulses below the surface and mapping reflected signals to reveal hidden interfaces. This method, much like a planetary MRI, detected density contrasts that hinted at constructed formations, clear divisions where natural rock would normally blur. Complementing GPR was electrical resistivity tomography, which measured conductivity by injecting currents, exposing voids or filled cavities unnatural in origin. Seismic tomography completed the trio, charting vibrations to outline underground spaces like sonic blueprints. Together, these methods revealed a striking portrait. Beneath the visible terraces lay a vast, layered monument built in stages across immense spans of time. Hillman's group identified Unit 1 as surface megaliths, 2 to 3,000 years old. Deeper, Unit 2 appeared at 3 to 5 mem, neatly aligned rocks dated to roughly 7,500 years through carbon traces in trapped organics. The real shock came with Unit 3. Buried, 15 mem down, modified basalt dating between 16,000 and 28,000 years. Imagine the tension in their tent as data confirmed rectangular voids 10 by 15 m, their precision far too deliberate for geology's hand. Hillman described them as human-crafted chambers. But why were they built? As ritual echo halls, repositories of knowledge or energy conduits exploiting geothermal flows? By 2013, these revelations prompted an official presidential decree forming a full-scale integrated research team. Core drilling followed, extracting slim cylinders of sediment that read like time capsules. Pollen traced the march of ecosystems from Ice Age grasslands to tropical forests, matching global climate shifts. Optically stimulated luminescence dating added depth, confirming burial timelines older than recognized civilizations. Hillman advanced the idea of Gunung Padang as a pyramid-like complex, layered by successive societies who honored and expanded upon an ancient nucleus. This theory set imaginations aflame. Could its resonant stones vibrating at 440 Hz be evidence of intentional tuning, their acoustic voids mapped through modern scans? Magnetometer readings added further intrigue, suggesting metallic inclusions or aligned crystals, raising whispers of prehistoric metallurgy. Yet, as evidence piled up, so did resistance. Hillman's 2023 paper in Archaeological Prospection showcased GPR layers and seismic profiles arguing for Paleolithic construction. Though initially accepted, scrutiny led to retraction in 2024 over disputed date correlations. Hillman fiercely rejected the claim, pointing to the unchallenged geophysical signatures. He denounced the episode as academic gatekeeping, protecting orthodoxy. The controversy only deepened the mystery. Discoveries of iron-rich cement hinted at early material science, while exotic pollen implied trade networks spanning the drowned plains of Sundaland. By 2025, his mission persisted, bolstered by new developments. That February, Indonesia's culture minister, Fadlon, endorsed fresh investigations. By July, state-led restoration was announced, prioritizing non-invasive mapping with drone-mounted LIDAR before excavation. At the June 2025 Cosmic Summit, Hillman shared progress on exploring subterranean voids. In an earlier podcast with Matt Beal of Limitless, he outlined plans to trace seismic microtremors with dense geophone arrays, producing refined 3D models of tunnel networks extending for hundreds of meters. While some might be natural lava tubes, Hillman suspects ancient modification, perhaps for water flow or sacred processions. New tools now expand the search. Hyperspectral satellite imaging for mineral anomalies and AI-driven data fusion merging GPR with resistivity to predict hidden artifacts. Hillman's quest is fueled by a haunting question. Could Gunung Padang bridge us to a forgotten age where humans wielded sound and stone in ways we barely grasp? In 2025, his team added bioacoustics, recording stone vibrations with high sensitivity, microphones correlating frequencies to chamber geometries. Early results showed amplifications forming standing waves, pointing toward deliberate sonic engineering. Might this explain myths of singing stones or even echo Tesla-like ideas of resonance as energy? Hillman drew comparisons to Malta's hypogeum and its acoustic chambers, suggesting an ancient network of shared knowledge. Yet obstacles persist. Funding cuts, skepticism, critics like Flint Dibble accusing obstructionism. Hillman counters with calls for open collaboration. Plans this year include international partnerships employing muon tomography, cosmic ray, detectors tracing densities deep within rock like an X-ray for pyramids. He envisions sealed chambers yielding organics for DNA studies, perhaps even clues to builder identities. Intriguingly, social media buzz through mid-2025 AI-powered simulations have recently taken Hillman's raw data and projected it into vivid reconstructions, imaginings of a thriving Ice Age settlement perched atop the hill. Yet mysteries remain, wrapped in both silence and politics. Why, skeptics ask, did research stall so abruptly in 2014 under a new government? Hillman often points toward political pressure, hinting at corporate mining interests eager to exploit the volcanic riches in the region. Conspiracy theories echo louder, whispers that global elites seek to suppress evidence that human history has advanced and collapsed in forgotten cycles, erased by cataclysmic floods. Through all of this, Hillman's voice blends scientific precision with deep conviction. In his talks, he points to core samples gathered in 2025, quartz crystals displaying unusual alignments, possibly piezoelectric, capable of generating current under stress. Could ancient builders have experimented with energy fields or even primitive communication devices? The next step, he explains, will involve robotic crawlers outfitted with sensors and cameras, designed to explore the narrow tunnels beneath the terraces and transmit real-time visuals of whatever lies hidden. With government support through Zahn's initiatives, Hillman's research now stands at the frontier of historical inquiry. Yet unanswered questions loom large. What if the underground chambers yield astronomical maps, encoded scripts, or evidence of forgotten sciences? Such a discovery would not merely rewrite Indonesian history, but challenge humanity's understanding of its place in the cosmos. Hillman insists Gunung Padang may hold keys left by ancestors who survived ancient cataclysms, a blueprint for resilience against the next. As 2025 unfolds, restoration and non-invasive surveys move forward. Hillman's latest findings remind us that the Earth itself is speaking through vibrations, radar echoes, and resonant stone frequencies. He calls this a hidden symphony of humanity, one still waiting to be heard, and with each passing season, his work attracts not only scientists, but dreamers eager to peer into forgotten ages. Which brings us, listeners, to the tangible relics. Pulled from Gunung Padang's soil, the objects themselves, each one a spark in this enduring enigma. Among the earliest were the so-called coins discovered in 2013. At first they seemed unremarkable, small metallic discs faintly engraved. Yet testing told a stranger tale. Organic residues nearby dated them to nearly 5,200 BCE, centuries older than the earliest known Lydian coins from Turkey. Composed of copper mixed with deliberate alloy traces, these objects suggested intentional smelting far earlier than believed possible. Their symbols, patterns resembling constellations or proto-scripts, evoked the later Indus Valley seals. Were they tokens of trade across the submerged Sunda Shelf, or amulets imbued with ritual power to harness the site's natural resonance? One disc in particular ignited fierce debate. Initially catalogued as colonial-era Dutch, closer analysis revealed anomalies in its composition and engraving. Critics argued it threatened to undermine the site's antiquity, while supporters countered that it might represent an artifact reused across centuries, embedding ancient designs into later material. Beyond coins, excavations unearthed adornments and tools that deepened the mystery. Mid-terrace digs revealed jewelry, beaded necklaces of quartz and obsidian, strung on preserved cords dating back to around 3000 BCE. Their reflective facets seemed intentionally polished, perhaps to create dazzling optical effects for ritual or status. The obsidian, however, originated from distant volcanic islands, implying seafaring trade routes across the Indonesian archipelago long before accepted timelines. Pottery shards were equally provocative, not crude clay, but wheel-thrown ceramics with glazed surfaces and etched patterns. Spirals, geometric forms, and animal figures adorned the fragments, echoing motifs seen in other ancient cultures. Could these parallels indicate ancient maritime connections, or do they reflect universal symbols embedded in the human psyche? Taken together, the artifacts suggest Gunung Padang was never just a stone monument. It was a living hub where people innovated, exchanged, and perhaps accessed knowledge we still struggle to understand. Polished stone axes with gleaming edges rivaling. Neolithic craftsmanship surfaced in soil cores, their handles showing traces of resin binding. Yet it's the metallic flecks in certain blades, iron particles fused within basalt, that ignite debate, dated to nearly 7,000 years before the Common Era. Such evidence hints at primitive smelting long before the Hittite Iron Age around 1200 BCE. Picture a community on this volcanic plateau, forging tools from local ores and perhaps harnessing geothermal heat as natural furnaces. Even weapons, spear tips with clear wear patterns, reveal duality, serving in hunts or combat, but their symmetry suggests ritualistic placement, aligned to cardinal points for astronomical observances. Preserved unusually well in alkaline soils, these artifacts raise endless questions. Were these makers isolated innovators or linked to a broader world, trading metallurgical insights that later vanished with rising seas? At the heart of these finds lies an ancient cement mixture, securing Gunung Padang's reputation as an engineering paradox. Core samples from deep layers uncovered a mortar-like blend binding basalt columns, a calculated mix of clay, silica, and iron oxides forming a hydraulic cement resilient underwater or in humidity. This was no crude mud. Geochemical analysis shows firing above 800 degrees C, producing a durable compound resistant to erosion, astonishingly dated between 25,000 and 28,000 years before present in Unit 3. That predates Roman concrete by more than 20,000 years and Egyptian mortars by millennia. Local hematite provided iron, seemingly added for reinforcement, a prehistoric version of rebar achieved through alchemical trial. Hillman's team, though their paper was later withdrawn, suggested this as proof of advanced geochemical knowledge, perhaps inspired by volcanic processes mixing ash with clay to create proto-geopolymers. Lab simulations extended the intrigue, revealing this cement conducted faint electrical charges, possibly linked to the site's magnetic anomalies. Could the pyramid have functioned like a capacitor, storing geomagnetic energy? These material marvels intersect eerily with the site's acoustics, Stones emit high-pitched tones, harmonizing with Western musical scales near 440 Hz. Hillman's accelerometer surveys recorded vibrations amplifying inside the buried chambers, creating resonant overtones capable of trance-like states. This seems too intentional to be coincidence. Silica content within the cement may act as a piezoelectric amplifier generating voltage under tectonic stress. Perhaps ancient builders understood this resonance, shaping the structure like a massive instrument, using sound for construction, block levitation, as Tibetan tales recall, or even healing rituals, aligning human biofields with the planets. Here conspiracy theories sharpen. If such technology existed, why conceal it? Some link the knowledge to suppressed breakthroughs like Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower, implying energy monopolies bury it to maintain control. Online forums in 2025 whisper that restoration phases may include acoustic mapping, potentially exposing hidden chambers once used as healing halls, echoing Pythagorean traditions. Parallels intensify the enigma. Coins at Gunung Padang, dated far earlier than Lydian currency, mirror controversial finds in India, suggesting parallel or diffused innovation. Jewelry patterns resemble Australia's 20,000-year-old Bradshaw art, hinting at migrating artisans sharing symbolic codes. Iron traces in tools recall Africa's Nok culture, yet Gunung Padang's precedence flips the origin story. The cement echoes geopolymers at Puma Punku in Peru, where stones interlock with uncanny precision, fueling whispers of ancient astronaut blueprints encoded in megaliths. Still, skepticism remains. A 2014 retraction questioned artifact contexts, suggesting soil dates didn't directly prove human use, perhaps natural deposit layers instead. Critics, including popular mechanics features, labeled it pseudo-archaeology, citing the colonial coin misidentification as evidence of flawed dating. Hillman counters by stressing stratigraphic integrity. Artifacts were sealed in untouched strata. Now in 2025, as restoration progresses, expectations rise for new halls, perhaps metallic scrolls or resonant crystals, to surface. With Fadlazan championing the project since February and further announcements in July, momentum builds. Yet concerns linger. Is the influx of tourism money distorting science or helping bring hidden truths into the light? Explorations continue. Coins, hinting at economies, ornaments bridging cultures, implements foreshadowing technologies, and cements revealing alchemical mastery, all weaving a saga of brilliance that defies chronology. Each discovery calls out. What ancient handbooks guided their crafting? Do they conceal records of deluges past or blueprints for resilience ahead? As the relics of Gunung Padang rise, they urge us to hear the vibration of stone and the glint of metal, unlocking portals to forgotten epochs. This tangible mosaic sets the prelude to the storms of debate that followed, where the sentinels of academia clashed with daring challengers. In the cloistered corridors of scholarship, where venerable volumes guard humanity's official timelines, Gunung Padang has ignited a controversy that refuses extinction, drawing sharp lines between visionaries and defenders of tradition. Imagine a worldwide colloquy, not in marble halls but across online forums and peer-reviewed journals, where voices grind together like tectonic shifts. On one side stand proponents such as Danny Hillman Natawijaja, championing an Ice Age marvel. On the other, skeptics denouncing it as a mirage of skewed readings. This intellectual battleground, simmering since the site's reemergence in the early 2000s, reached its crescendo with the publication and abrupt retraction of Hillman's landmark paper in October 2023. What began as a peer-reviewed breakthrough in archaeological prospection, detailing layered constructions from 28,000 years ago, unraveled into accusations, withdrawals, and renewed demands for scrutiny. Observers asked, was this strict scientific rigor, or a veiled bid to smother truths capable of toppling civilizations? Pedigrees? The retraction, announced in March 2024, thundered across the field, editors citing a fundamental flaw. Radiocarbon dates from soil could not be directly tied to human-made artifacts. Critics such as Cardiff University archaeologist Flint Dibble argued that charred remains or sediments could have migrated downward via roots or water flow, severing any human link. In a blistering Nature critique, skeptics further dismantled the geophysical scans, insisting the apparent voids were natural volcanic pockets, not chambers carved by hand. They stressed the absence of definitive artifacts in the deepest strata. No implements, no skeletal remains, no unambiguous evidence of habitation, dismissing pyramid claims as extraordinary assertions requiring extraordinary proof, echoing Carl Sagan's maxim. The backlash was not new. As early as 2014, Indonesia's Bandung Archaeological Center condemned the excavations, accusing Hillman's team of sidestepping protocols and endangering site integrity for sensational headlines. International voices piled on, branding the research pseudo-archaeology akin to fringe programming. Yet beneath the barbs lay a pattern. Many detractors had never visited the site, nor examined raw data, leaning on second-hand accounts. Was their haste fueled by discomfort with the possibility that human ingenuity thrived during glacial ages, undermining the standard post-Ice Age innovation narrative? Hillman and his supporters refused to fade. Through statements and interviews, they rejected the retraction as premature, claiming the journal disregarded supplementary evidence, including seismic profiles showing alignments incompatible with natural geology. Hillman highlighted his project's interdisciplinary breadth, geologists, physicists, and archaeologists working together, in contrast with critics' armchair assessments. Supporters such as Graham Hancock framed the affair as an emblem of institutional gatekeeping, recalling how the Clovis First model or debates over Sphinx erosion have been guarded with equal fervor. Hancock in his platforms likened it to an academic fear of funding loss or reputational peril if ancient sophistication were confirmed. The dispute spilled into social media, hashtags like Gunung Padang Truth trending as enthusiasts dissected retraction, statements noting overlooked acoustic data. What if the retraction served not science, but preservation of a worldview where Egypt held the pyramid crown and Southeast Asia remained peripheral? The skirmishes climaxed with the 2014 suspension of the project, which cast Gunung Padang back into mystery. Under President Joko Widodo's incoming administration, work halted. Teams ordered off-site over alleged procedural missteps and environmental risks. Officially framed as reevaluation, insiders whispered of politics. Hillman's findings, favored by the previous regime, clashed with priorities privileging development over disruptive heritage claims. The site's closeness to West Java's mining interests fanned speculation. Had halting excavations prevented protected status declarations that would block extraction? Hillman later described this pause as a dark age, with tools idle and vegetation, reclaiming terraces, as if the mountain itself conspired to hide its story. That decade-long lull fueled conspiracies. Was it mere timing that the suspension followed global media buzz, or did international forces, perhaps UNESCO or entrenched academic lobbies, apply pressure to suppress a narrative challenging Western-centric histories? By 2025, the embers reignited. In January, Indonesian outlets reported renewed state interest in probing the site. By February, Culture Minister Fadlon publicly pressed for further research, hailing Gunung Padang as a national treasure demanding clarity. July brought confirmation. Staged restorations would begin, with non-invasive surveys preceding physical work, a cautious nod to earlier controversy. Hillman, at events like the Cosmic Summit, voiced optimism, hinting at global partnerships to reinforce credibility. Still, obstacles persist. An April 2025 New Asia Currents article noted lingering backlash, citing how mainstream resistance repeatedly froze progress. Critics now demand a worldwide consortium, as echoed in Tempo's January 2024 call for impartial oversight to resolve Gunung Padang's disputes. These new moves rekindle speculation. Why now, after years of silence? To some, it signals Indonesia asserting cultural sovereignty, using the site as both a point of pride and a draw for tourism amid economic strains. Some observers sense deeper currents, fueled in part by viral media, YouTube analyses dissecting the retraction, and TikTok clips hyping claims of the world's oldest pyramid. Conspiracy enthusiasts weave elaborate webs. Could hidden networks tied to pharmaceutical or energy empires fear the site's acoustic and material secrets, knowing they might unlock breakthroughs in free energy or alternative healing? Allies of Graham Hancock point to Netflix's Ancient Apocalypse backlash as a precedent, where similar alternative history was branded as dangerous misinformation. Imagine if reinstatement were to reveal chambers aligned with the stars, filled with artifacts of cosmic design. Would it validate Plato's Atlantis as a metaphor for a lost Sunderland, or expose a coordinated effort to reshape human origins? The suspension endures as a cautionary tale, where politics and scholarship collide, delaying discoveries that could illuminate humanity's persistent spark. Hillman's perseverance, even amid urgent calls for transparency, keeps the door slightly open. What suppressed documents remain locked away in archives? Do whistleblowers hold unredacted scans that could shift the debate? As restoration phases begin, the academic world watches uneasily, ready for either vindication or renewed discord. This unfolding drama, blending rigorous inquiry with shadowed intrigue, urges us to question whose version of history we inherit and what forces dictate its telling. From these contested grounds, the lens widens toward global enigmas, amplifying Gunung Padang's whisper into a resounding roar. As the veil begins to part, revealing glimpses of a daring prehistory, one cannot ignore threads extending far beyond Indonesia's mist-draped hills, weaving into a global tapestry of enigmas that span seas and epochs. Imagine, if you will, a hidden lattice of ancient sentinels, each one a silent witness to a shared saga of human ingenuity, or perhaps a deeper memory of cataclysms that reshaped the world. Gunung Padang, with its layered terraces and resonant stones, does not stand alone. It echoes with distant cousins, the submerged forms of Yonaguni in Japan, the enigmatic pillars of Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, and the spectral legend of a drowned Pacific continent. These links, etched in geology, echoed in myth, and carried by controversial theories, beckon us to ask, are we glimpsing fragments of a precursor civilization? One that thrived during the Ice Age only to vanish beneath rising seas, leaving cryptic clues for future seekers bold enough to connect them. In this journey, we must treat these sites not as isolated curiosities, but as interconnected portals, each amplifying the secrets of the others, whispering of suppressed knowledge that could redefine our place in the cosmos. Let us plunge into the azure depths of Yonaguni Island, Japan's southern frontier, where the ocean guards a structure that has mesmerized divers and scholars since its accidental discovery in 1986 by local fisherman Kihachiro Aratake. While scouting for hammerhead sharks, he stumbled upon something extraordinary, an immense submerged monument resembling a stepped pyramid with broad terraces, sharply angled stairways, and carved gateways plunging 30 meters into the sea. Measuring nearly 290 meters long and 120 wide, the Yonaguni Monument looms like an 8-story fortress of stone. Its faces bear markings that some see as roads, walls, or even animal motifs. As of April 2025, renewed fascination has surged, with reports from outlets like the New York Post and NDTV revisiting the debate. natural sandstone carved by currents, or the handiwork of ancient engineers who predate Egypt's pyramids by millennia. Geologist Masaki Kimura of the University of the Ryukyus argued for human craftsmanship, citing perpendicular cuts and geometric symmetry he claimed could not result from wave erosion. Yet skeptics, like Boston University's Robert Schoch, ironically, himself an advocate of older Sphinx dates, insist it is a quirk of nature formed when Ice Age seas stood 120 meters lower. The intrigue grows when we consider Yonaguni alongside Gunung Padang. Though oceans apart, both suggest pyramidal intent, and both may date back more than 20,000 years to a time when land bridges spanned what is now open water. In June 2025, Brighter Side News reported on new sonar surveys of Yonaguni, revealing potential tunnels beneath the seabed that mirror Gunung Padang's underground voids. Could these be remnants of a coastal network where ancient mariners sailed from a vanished Sunda homeland to the Ryukyu chain? Some even speculate that Yonaguni shares Gunung Padang's acoustic properties, its terraces perhaps resonating underwater, as sonic beacons for navigation or ritual. Conspiracy voices amplify the mystery, suggesting governments downplay such links to conceal evidence of extraterrestrial engineering, where visitors from the stars taught harmonic technologies lost in a global flood. As recently as July 2025, National Geographic History featured fresh footage of divers at Yonaguni's main terrace, igniting viral debate. If this structure is truly man-made, could it lend weight to Plato's Atlantis as a metaphor for Pacific cataclysms, or confirm the legends of Mu, the lost continent drowned beneath the waves? Submerged legacies echo across epochs. The site's descent beneath the waves around 12,000 years ago mirrors the deepest strata of Gunung Padang, hinting at a common destiny. Rising seas engulfing advanced settlements, scattering survivors, to seed tales of drowned Edens. Turning west, the dry expanse of southeastern Turkey unveils Göbekli Tepe, another keystone in this chain of enigmas. Since its discovery in 1995, this hilltop sanctuary, dated to 11,000 BCE, 6 millennia older than Stonehenge, has challenged history. Its circular enclosures, bordered by towering T-shaped pillars of limestone, some rising 6 meters and weighing 20 tons, are carved with animals, abstract motifs, and humanoid figures. By February 2025, the Jerusalem Post noted only 10% had been excavated, with full exploration projected to take 150 years. New wonders surface continually, such as a recently revealed wild boar statue. Geophysical scans suggest 20 or more buried circles, implying a sprawling complex raised by hunter-gatherers who, against expectation, built monuments without agriculture or metallurgy. The parallels to Gunung Padang are striking. Both sites reveal layered architecture, deliberately buried, Göbekli's enclosures backfilled with rubble much like Gunung Padang's terraces, perhaps to seal sanctuaries or track cosmic cycles. In June 2025, a Megalithania update from nearby Karahan Tepe showcased fresh enclosures with phallic pillars echoing Gunung Padang's possible celestial alignments. The Younger Dryas upheaval around 12,000 years ago, sparked by comet impacts, links these nodes through migrating shamans or shared memories of cataclysm. Graham Hancock has argued they were outposts of an Ice Age civilization, their carvings, at Göbekli chronicling comet storms that shattered ancient societies. Conspiracy currents surge further. A July 2025 YouTube feature, Göbekli Mystery Finally Solved, speculated on sealed chambers hiding star maps, suppressed to veil extraterrestrial ties, echoing controversies around Gunung Padang's contested studies. As Daily Sabah reported in July, over 3 million visitors have come since 2019, fueling tourism yet sparking suspicion. Are digs slowed to protect delicate ruins, or to avoid revealing that hunter-gatherers inherited knowledge rivaling empires? Perhaps from the diaspora of Mumu, sometimes rendered as MW, threads through these stories. The mythical Pacific continent, imagined by Augustus Le Plongeon in the 19th century and elaborated by James Churchward in the 1920s, was said to host 64 million souls who mastered levitation, telepathy, and crystal power before a catastrophe 50,000 years ago. Mainstream science rejects it. Continents don't sink whole, plate tectonics insists, but the myth lingers, reinforced by anomalies such as Nan Madol's basalt ruins in Micronesia or Easter Island's Moai. In January 2025, RBC Ukraine revisited Mu, Atlantis, and Lemuria, tying them to post-Ice Age sea level rise, a kernel of truth within the flood legends. Churchward claimed Indian tablets chronicled Mu's demise, its refugees seeding Egypt, Mesoamerica, and Asia, resonating with the idea of Gunung Padang as a Sundaland sanctuary. Mu's supposed domain overlaps Indonesia, with Yonaguni as its Eastern Sentinel and Gobekli as its western echo, perhaps built by migrants following lost land bridges. Of February 2025. My Escape 25 post linked Mu with Yonaguni and Nan Madol, citing spiral motifs in Gobekli carvings and Gunung Padang artifacts as proof of a Pacific-spanning culture. Skepticism endures. Geological evidence of megatsunamis could explain illusions of vanished continents. Yet conspiracies thrive. In January 2025, Louis Wolff explored Lemuria, Mu's twin, speculating that secret societies still guard advanced knowledge, crystal grids linking sites into a global energy web. Atlas Obscura's archives reveal fringe groups tracing Mu and sonar anomalies near Hawaii, tying them to Yonaguni's underwater monuments. If Mu was literal or symbolic, did its sages encode warnings in Gobekli's comet imagery or Gunung Padang's resonant chambers? A July 2025 Reddit thread debated both sites as decoys hiding Mu's truth, while Gaia articles tout them as proof of lost civilizations. Robert Schoch's research highlights deliberate burials at both, perhaps meant to shield wisdom from destruction. As Encyclopedia MDPI notes, myths of sunken lands fill prehistory's void, with Yonaguni bridging Ice Age realities to these legends. In this network, Gunung Padang is a Pacific Gobekli, Yonaguni a drowned sentinel, each a fragment of forgotten horizons. What archives lie offshore, waiting to connect them? By mid-2025, as Karahan Tepe yields new enclosures and BBC Reels probe, Yonaguni, the riddle deepens. Do Mu's echoes explain the acoustics, Gobekli's echoing chambers, and Gunung Padang's humming stones, or are alien origins more likely? The allure endures in mystery, continents sinking, civilizations whispering across seas, truths carved in stone and tide. Such cataclysmic visions bind them in cycles of loss and rebirth. And if these connections spark wonder, consider supporting. Mystery History for Sleep. Each like and subscribe helps unravel another fragment of the hidden past. Beneath official timelines lies a labyrinth of alternative histories, where great floods and vanished empires challenge orthodoxy. Perhaps the Great Flood was no singular event, but a recurring cosmic reset, its survivors encoding their memory as Atlantis, Mu, or Tartaria. And perhaps, even now, fragments remain, waiting for us to listen. Suppressing traces of advanced precursors ensures control of history's narrative. A central thread in these theories revolves around the Great Flood, not as a natural calamity, but as an engineered apocalypse. Figures like Graham Hancock, through works such as Ancient Apocalypse, argue that 12,000 years ago, a comet barrage melted ice sheets, drowning coastal empires and resetting civilization. Yet conspiracy circles expand the idea. This was no accident, but a deliberate reset by extraterrestrial overseers or secret cabals to cull advanced societies. In July 2025, Daily Sabah revisited Hancock's theories amid Gobekli Tepe's tourism, boom, where comet and animal carvings are interpreted as warnings of cataclysm. Imagine a civilization channeling free energy through resonant stones like Gunung Padangs, an existential threat to modern power grids. Reddit theorists insist elites, descendants of flood survivors, guard this knowledge, discrediting sites like Yonaguni as natural formations to prevent rediscovery. A 2025 YouTube release, Mud Floods and Hidden Civilizations, claimed entire cities were buried by liquefied earth from electromagnetic upheavals rather than water, linking them to Tartarian architecture worldwide. Why suppress the truth? To ensure reliance on fossil fuels, echoing the narrative of Tesla's silenced inventions. Enter Tartaria, a pseudo-historical empire surging in popularity since 2023. What began as a vague Siberian label evolved into myths of a global utopia erased by mud floods. A Discover magazine feature from December 2023 traced its transformation. Believers claim Tartaria mastered anti-gravity and built grand spires before vanishing around the 1800s. Mud flood evidence is cited. Submerged ground floors in Chicago or San Francisco blamed on Great Fires as cover-ups. On August 2, 2025, All That's Interesting described Tartaria as the architect of world landmarks, from capitals to the Great Wall, supposedly raised by giants or advanced machines, until liquefied earth buried it all. Theorists link Gunung Padang's terraces as highland refuges from the same catastrophe, while Mu's Pacific Expanse and Sundaland vanished beneath waves. James Churchward's 1920s claims of Mu's crystal-powered society, revisited in a January 2025 RBC Ukraine article, suggests survivors fled to Indonesia, seeding Gunung Padang's builders. But here's the twist: orphan trains of the 1800s. Conspiracy posts on X, like one in April 2025 from the Flat Earther, argue they were repopulation schemes after Tartaria's collapse, with incubator babies displayed at world fairs as prototypes for reset humanity. Could this parallel biblical flood stories, where Noah's Ark acted as a genetic vault, preserving DNA of pre-deluge giants? Atlantis, Plato's utopia, often merges with Mu or Tartaria in modern lore. A 2022 Guardian piece critiqued Netflix's ancient apocalypse for fueling dangerous myths, yet in an October 2024 YouTube interview, Hancock reiterated Atlantis was a real Ice Age empire destroyed by comet-triggered floods. On July 26, 2025, Wu Report argued Göbekli Tepe's age reinforces theories of flood survivors raising monuments as memorials, its pillars encoding cosmic maps. Posts on X, like a June 2025 note from Avon Brockman, highlight submerged ruins in Gujarat's Gulf of Kambat as evidence of a drowned Vedic civilization dating back 12,000 years, proof of global deluges wiping out advanced cultures. What if Atlantis's evil wind, described in ancient texts, was radiation from solar flares? Coinciding with floods, as Ben Davidson suggests? A 2023 How Stuff Works article compared flood myths, Sumerian Gilgamesh, Hindu Manu, Greek Deucalion, pointing to shared trauma, perhaps engineered to curb overpopulation or technological misuse. In contrast, a 2012 ABC News interview with Robert Ballard, Titanic's discoverer, tied Black Sea evidence to a real Noah's flood 7,000 years ago. Conspiracists expand this into multiple engineered resets. The vanishing of ancient societies stirs darker theories: intentional erasure by elites or alien custodians. A 2025 X thread by Ours Adjacent Wild reframes myths as coded histories of star gods who intervened post-flood, tutoring survivors at sanctuaries like Gunung Padang. According to Wikipedia's summary of Tartaria's pseudo-history, its mud, floods were electromagnetic weapons liquefying soil and burying free energy grids. In August 2025, Orberhold Tesla claimed coastal giants now lie 400 feet underwater since the Younger Dryas, with survivors inland building terraces like Gunung Padang. Mu's downfall, described by Vocal Media, involved tsunamis misread as continental collapse, survivors seeding Yonaguni's steppes. Theorists connect this to anti-gravity, telepathy, and genetic experiments hidden beneath Giza's rumored underground city, highlighted in a July 2025 Answers in Genesis article. Meanwhile, Hancock's 2022 Conversation interview accused archaeologists of clinging to Darwinian gradualism, suppressing alternative histories. In 2025, fresh controversies only amplify the storm. As we draw closer to the end of our nocturnal voyage through the enigmas of Gunung Padang, I, Mr. H, cannot help but reflect on the ripples this ancient hill casts across the waters of modern history. What does it mean if beneath the soil of West Java lies the memory of a civilization thousands of years older than we ever imagined? This is not just archaeology. It is a mirror, a reminder that our grip on the past is fragile, and that fragility shapes our future. Gunung Padang whispers of cycles long forgotten, rises and collapses of societies erased by catastrophe, leaving us with only fragments to interpret. If even a kernel of Dr. Danny Hillman Natawijaja's research proves true, then humanity has walked this path before, advancing, thriving, and vanishing, reset by forces we barely understand. Such revelations do more than rewrite textbooks. They challenge us to ask whether we are prepared for the storms and upheavals of our own age, climate shifts, pandemics, and fractures in society that echo the very cataclysms ancient myths warn of. And they force us to look beyond the narrow centers of history we've been taught. For decades, the cradles of civilization were said to be Mesopotamia and the Nile. But what if Indonesia itself was once an epicenter of human innovation, long before the written word? The Indonesian government's plans for restoration in 2025 hint at this possibility. Non-invasive surveys, cultural projects, even UNESCO ambitions all point to a future where Gunung Padang becomes both a national treasure and a global symbol. Yet here lies the paradox. Are these efforts a genuine search for truth or carefully managed narratives for politics and tourism? In an era where AI images and viral myths blur the line between fact and fantasy, Gunung Padang becomes more than a site. It becomes a test of our ability to discern truth itself. And still, the mysteries deepen. Acoustic anomalies, ancient cements stronger than modern mixes, stones that seem to hum with resonance, perhaps aligning with Earth's natural frequencies. Could these whispers of lost science inspire solutions for our age of energy crises and climate fear? Or are they simply the echoes of human imagination, amplified by our longing for wonder? By July 2025, international teams prepared to return, digging not just into the hill, but into the very foundations of our story. What will they find? Buried chambers with lost technologies, or only silence and stone? Gunung Padang stands as both a monument and a metaphor, a survivor on high ground after the floods, a beacon in a world where seas rise again. Perhaps it holds no answers at all. Or perhaps, hidden beneath its terraces lies a reminder that history is not a straight line, but a circle, and that civilizations before us have risen, fallen, and been forgotten in the tides of time. As the night draws to a close, let this thought linger. The greatest mystery may not be what lies beneath Gunung Padang, but whether we will recognize ourselves in its reflection. In these final philosophical moorings, we find ourselves standing at the crossroads of mystery and modernity. In an age where artificial intelligence blurs the boundaries of human creativity, and ancient alien theories captivate streaming platforms, Gunung Padang compels us to ask, where did we truly come from? Were our ancestors guided by otherworldly intelligences, as some speculative threads in 2025 suggest, tying the site to crystalline energy grids, or does this hill instead affirm humanity's innate genius, capable of wonders long before recorded history? The debates swirl endlessly. Of February 2025. Snopes' fact-check dismissed exaggerated claims, yet the possibility of Gunung Padang as the oldest pyramid still unsettles the neat story of gradual Darwinian evolution. It suggests moments of cognitive leaps, perhaps triggered by environmental shocks such as the Younger Dryas cold snap. Against the backdrop of global uncertainties, geopolitical friction, ethical dilemmas in AI, this ancient site becomes more than stone terraces. It is a humbling reminder that civilizations rise, innovate, and vanish, leaving echoes for us to interpret. Speculation abounds. If restoration uncovers preserved DNA within the site, as Jakarta Post hinted, it could trace migrations that rewrite the map of human ancestry, tethering us more closely to Ice Age innovators. Yet the true allure lies not in answers, but in the questions Gunung Padang poses. What cataclysm erased its builders? Was it comet, solar flare, or engineered reset? Could such forces loom again today? New digs, as noted by independent researchers, in August 2025 seem imminent, yet even these come shadowed by prior retractions. Then there are the enigmas of sound. Acoustic tests reveal resonances strangely reminiscent of modern sound therapy, raising the possibility of ancient knowledge aligned with healing frequencies. The mysterious cement, its durability unmatched, suggests forgotten geopolymers that could one day revolutionize eco-friendly construction in our housing-strained world. And in the way this site mirrors places like Yonaguni and Göbekli Tepe, it tempts us to imagine a prehistoric web of knowledge spanning continents, long before writing etched the human record. But mysteries bring responsibilities. Should we fully excavate, risking damage to a sacred site still revered by local Sundanese as the Mountain of Enlightenment? Or should we preserve its secrets for generations yet to come? Balancing scientific inquiry with cultural respect is no small task. To some, Gunung Padang is evidence of a forgotten pyramid older than Giza, a claim revisited by researchers in 2023 and echoed in 2025. To others, it remains a cautionary tale of skepticism, reminding us how quickly paradigms can fracture when truth threatens egos and economies alike. And so I leave you with lingering questions, seeds for dreams that carry us into the night. Gunung Padang is not merely a relic of the past. It is a catalyst for reflection in our restless present. What hidden chambers of history lie not only beneath its stones, but within our own understanding of ourselves? As restoration begins anew, in 2025, perhaps answers will rise to the surface, or perhaps the mystery will only deepen. In these quiet hours, let such questions guide your thoughts. For in mystery, we often find the spark of enlightenment. Now, dear listeners, as we near our final pause together, I cannot help but wonder, from where are you joining me tonight? Perhaps from a tranquil village in Bali, a neon-lit street in Tokyo, or a quiet room in London. Wherever you are, I feel the same wonder binding us together, like a soft blanket of night. Together we have wandered the misty jungles of West Java, touched stones whispering of forgotten epochs, and connected this enigmatic hill to a global web of mysteries, from the submerged steps of Yonaguni to the carved pillars of Göbekli Tepe, to the spectral legends of lost continents. Along the way, we have wrestled with the groundbreaking research of Dr. Danny Hillman Natawijaja, navigated fierce debates, and pondered artifacts that hint at technologies lost to time. Resonant stones that hum, ancient cements that bind secrets, coins that predate known economies. Yet beyond the data and disputes lies the essence of this journey. A reminder that history is no closed book, but an ever-unfolding scroll, urging us to question, to imagine, and to seek truths hidden in shadow. Gunung Padang stands as sentinel, challenging the arrogance of modernity. If its deepest layers indeed reach back 28,000 years, then the myth of linear progress crumbles, replaced by cycles of brilliance and oblivion. Echoing global flood myths, From Noah's Ark to Gilgamesh's epic, it may preserve memory of cataclysms like the Younger Dryas, when the world reshaped itself 12,000 years ago. Its stones, vibrating at 440 hertz, invite speculation of lost sciences, perhaps sonic levitation or forgotten methods of energy harnessing that could inspire solutions for our age. And with the Indonesian government pledging further missions, in 2025, the intrigue only grows deeper. Gunung Padang is not simply a monument of the past. It is a mirror, showing us both what we were and what we might yet become. The debates continued, and by July, fresh restoration plans were laid out, beginning with non-invasive surveys before any direct excavation, according to Antara News. A March YouTube update from a PhD researcher reignited the controversy, hinting that resistance from mainstream archaeology might be rooted in fear of a paradigm shift. Even viral but misleading images depicting Gunung Padang as a perfect jungle pyramid, later debunked, only revealed the depth of public fascination. Now, in 2025, the site lives as an unfolding mystery, one that may soon reveal hidden chambers, artifacts, or even genetic traces that could reshape our family tree. Yet every revelation leaves behind even deeper riddles, easing our thoughts into quiet contemplation. Music. What true force entombed these ancient builders? Was it comet strikes, rising seas, or something far more deliberate? If Gunung Padang's stones truly align with Earth's magnetic fields, could they conceal forgotten sciences of healing or free energy? And why, across decades, the resistance, from the 2014 halted digs to the 2024 paper's retraction? Is it simple caution, or an attempt to protect truths too disruptive for our fragile systems? Connections stretch far and wide, to Yonaguni's sunken terraces, perhaps 20,000 years old, to Göbekli Tepe's 11,000-year-old enclosures, and even to whispers of lost continents. Together, they hint at a prehistoric web of knowledge diffused across drowned lands, fragments of a forgotten global memory. As restoration advances this year, backed by the government's pledge in July, we stand on the threshold. Will Gunung Padang be proven a natural hill enhanced by megalithic hands, or the crown jewel of an Ice Age civilization? These unresolved enigmas invite you to drift into slumber with visions of terraced pyramids under starlit skies, where the past murmurs guidance for our uncertain future. And so, my fellow seekers of hidden truths, as this 2-hour odyssey closes, I offer a gentle invitation. If the journey through Gunung Padang has sparked your wonder, soothed your night, or awakened your imagination, consider joining our community here at Mystery History for Sleep. Subscribing ensures you'll never miss future explorations into forgotten worlds, whether Atlantis's submerged spires or Tartaria's mud-buried grandeur. Turning on notifications will deliver each tale to you like a messenger from time itself. Sharing this episode with friends who love mysteries can spark new conversations, perhaps even in the comments below, where I'd love to hear your reflections. What do you think lies beneath Gunung Padang? Have you encountered sites that echo these same anomalies? For those who wish to wander further, our playlists hold deep dives into ancient civilizations and untold conspiracies. Perfect companions for long nights of listening. Supporting with a like or comment helps us continue these journeys, bringing more carefully researched stories your way. In a world rushing toward the future, pausing to look back with open eyes may be the very key to moving forward. Thank you for walking beside me through this labyrinth of time. May your dreams hum with the resonance of ancient stones, and may they carry the promise of discoveries yet to come. Sleep peacefully, dream deeply, and until the next mystery unfolds, good night.